More debt, higher taxes, unrest and chaos in the cities. That's exactly what we're going to get in less than 3 months. What, 2.5 months? Kamala will be president. Now, hold on. The only way that she's not going to be president is that Trump and the Republicans and the conservatives and the libertarians realize that this is a battle. And if we want to change America and we want freedom still, we have to learn to put our big boy pants on. We have to quit playing partisan politics. We have to quit playing us versus them, and we have to start talking about the true issues and start building a true coalition. We mentioned this a few weeks ago, and I hate to see Republicans sparring each other on Twitter or on social media over stupid things. If we would just come together and say, okay, Kamala wants to raise your taxes. She came out yesterday with the corporate tax rate to where she wants to raise the taxes. When you raise taxes on businesses, that is passed down to the consumer. It's amazing that Democrats push the tariffs as something that's going to cost us more, but not if you raise on the own businesses that we all work for. And then also she wants to add to the deficit. Why are we not talking about those two things and securing our border? That will be a win-win for everyone. Let's discuss it today. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. That sure does mean the world to me, and we humbly ask, if you like it, give us a thumbs up. It helps us share our message across this platform. Now, the point of today's video is we have a lot of people who don't agree with Kamala. What we've seen from the first part of the DNC is not the fact that people actually believe in Kamala or believe in Biden's policies. They just don't like Trump. So they're trying to push this narrative that, you know, Kamala's going to give us hope and joy and peace. We've had Kamala and Biden for 3.5 years, almost 4 full years. We've got nothing of the sorts. How she talks about how she's going to change grocery price and inflation. Do you remember she helped push the Inflation Reduction Act through Congress? Remember, she was over the chambers of the Senate, if you remember that. It has not done anything but cause more spending. You still have high inflation. Now, 2 plans she came out with yesterday. She wants to raise your taxes. She wants to raise the corporate and bigger business, but not only that, smaller businesses that have been successful. She wants to tax more. It's right there. Go back and read the policy. Now, what the Democrats say is that, well, when Trump wants to cut our taxes and raise tariffs, it's going to cost us more. Now think about what I just said. The Democrats are telling you that if we cut taxes on Americans and charge more to overseas businesses and overseas goods, it will cost us more. At the same time, they're trying to shove down new taxes. When the business has to pay more tax, who does that hurt more? The business owner probably will still make what he makes. And guess what? You will too. Meaning you're not going to get the raise that you thought you were going to get. If they're passing down taxes to the business owners and the businesses, that means you will feel it. Because guess what? Even if you don't feel it in your payroll, you're going to feel it when next time you go to the store, because they've been taxed more, so they're going to charge more for their goods. It's so simple what we're doing here. And instead of the Republicans or the conservatives or the libertarians or the Trumps or the never Trumps, all of them together would all agree that bad monetary policy is really what bothers people the most. The economy. Why are we not just hammering on the economy and safe cities? Again, cities are in turmoil because we've allowed for no policing. We've allowed for these Democratic-led cities to destroy all the good, all the businesses. The DNC in Chicago, they're literally boarding up small businesses to make sure that they're keeping safe during protests and riots. Is that safe cities? So that's the two things that we as conservatives, freedom-minded and oriented people, independents who just want to keep their family safe, or someone who just wants a good economy, would have to agree that raising taxes on businesses will hurt the economy. And remember, inflation's up, interest is up. They're not cutting interest rates, and they may try to right before the election, but the problem is that's going to cause for more inflation, so get ready for it. And then trying to raise taxes. Now, here's the thing. If a Democrat would say, I want to raise taxes, but I'm also going to cut as much as I raise. Now, I don't agree with that. I believe that's a stupid policy. But let's go a little deeper there, because they're not wanting to cut money. They're not wanting to cut spending. They want to actually spend more. So if you make more and you spend more, you're still in the same hole, correct? Before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. How many times have we talked about cleaning up your diet and trying to be the very best you that you can be? Not only do we want to grow our foods, there's a lot of times when I'm working on the farm or I'm busy or just not able to get the kind of foods that I want always in my system. That's where Field of Greens comes in. When we talk about powdered fruits and veggies, or we talk about health supplements, what better way to know you're getting the very best quality when you know it's American made, American grown. They're flash frozen vegetables, so you're not losing any of the nutrients and minerals in them. Also, you're able to know that this is organically grown with no chemicals or pesticides on these fruits and veggies that now you are taking in. Comes in several different flavors. Also, Brickhouse Nutrition, who produces Field of Greens, has tons of other beneficial nutrients and supplements that you can take that can help you be the very best you that you can be. When it comes to your health, find ways to optimize your health. And when sometimes you're busy and you're not able to get that good quality meal, what's wrong with having a shake? Not only are you getting something that tastes very good, not only is it helping maybe curb your appetite to not want to overeat bad foods, you're getting the nutrients and minerals that your body so needs. And especially when we live in this crazy world that we're in, as you go through the stresses of this world, there's nothing better than making sure your health is at the optimal position. Field of Greens is excellent when it comes to your immune health. Also making sure that as we go through the cold season, flu season, that you're getting the very best nutrients to fight off any sickness that comes your way. I love it. I love the taste of it. It gives me good energy all day, especially when you're eating healthy. It makes you feel better. I'm sure that you will love the flavor and love how Field of Greens makes you feel. If you don't, they have a 100% money back guarantee. I've got you a 15% discount off your first order. Visit Field of Greens, use the promo code THEMAX, save some money, and have the most optimal health that you can have, even when you're busy. Don't miss out on this deal. Check out fieldofgreens.com, use the promo code THEMAX. Link is in the description. Thanks so much, Field of Greens, for sponsoring today's video. So now, if the Democrats pushed higher taxes to cut our deficit or to cut spending, I think they would probably sway some people. Not that I would agree with it, but they would sway some people. But that's not what they're doing. If you look at her economic plan actually wants to tax you more, at the same time spend more by giving money away to people in the tax credits, in the forms of incentives, and also to the fact that she wants to rob Peter to pay Paul. That is exactly what her policies show. Now, here's where I want to come back to Republicans and even Trump. Instead of talking, let me say it like this. Do I believe Trump's going to change after 80 years of being pretty much on this earth to change the way he acts or the way he speaks? No. He's a billionaire for a reason, and he's been marketing himself for this long. You're not going to change that. Now, here's what I would advise. You kind of get past the comments, because ultimately you have to compare economies. We had one economy with Trump, and then we had another economy with Biden-Harris. Now, take that out of it. And you say, well, I don't like the fact that he's just a name caller. Well, I don't either. I really don't. I think it's a little childish. But we got to look past that and go back to the fact of, if the economy and safety is a big deal, why are we worried about what he says online? At the same time, would we rather be lied to from politicians? At least Trump is very honest. He may call somebody dumb or stupid or act like a childish kindergartner, but to be honest with you, don't we like the fact that he's not so polished? Don't we like the fact that he's a little bit more honest? My gosh, did you hear Kamala speak yesterday? It was so bad. It was terrible. She spoke about the return of investment. She said return of investment about 5 times. And if you listen to the whole, if you go back and take out the mannerisms, go back to the transcript, there was absolutely nothing of knowledge said in that. Now, we could polish it like a Reagan or a Bush and say, well, it just wasn't very thoughtful and she didn't make good comments. No, he's going to call it what it is. It was very dumb. But at least we're getting honesty. Now, the thing is, this is where Republicans should stick together and say, who cares how Trump says it? We have to speak honest with the fact that this economy is failing and you will end up in a recession or depression or World War III because of this administration. You will see our panic in the cities get worse. You will see the fact that there's no such thing as hiring more police or hiring more safety officers or whatever they want to call them, because no one wants to work for these cities that will not back their own policemen. So therefore, these businesses that keep running out of these cities, we can't make excuses for it. We need to call it what it is. It is a city in turmoil, and the cities are causing the problems, and the businesses are leaving it, not because they don't want to make money, it's because their stores keep getting broken into, and the fact that no one wants to buy goods, they want to steal them, and they're scared of what's going to happen to the employees. That's the truth. If we would learn to call it what it is, versus talking about political rhetoric or political polishing, I think we would actually get our point across. Now, if I was Trump or an advisor of Trump, and Trump is going to do what Trump wants to do. I understand that. He's been doing it for this long. He's a billionaire. You're not going to change him. But what I do like that is this. I actually like the fact that he's not so polished and he calls it what it is. Now, here's what I would do if I was him. I would stay on policy. I would stay on the fact you can say what you want to say and you don't have to be polished, but we need to talk about economy, cities in peril, and the fact that we need to close our border. Also, we need to talk about the fact that we don't need war anymore across the world. Do you realize those things? Take everything else out. If you talk about safe cities, closing a border, having an economy where we're not taxing our people more and spending more, because remember, we cannot afford the debt that we have. So therefore, we know bad times are coming. Don't kid yourself, no matter who becomes president. Our economy cannot withstand the debt that it has. And then, of course, talking about no wars. If you talk about those few things, and you hammer on those few things, quit talking about anything else. Now, as me, I'm of course, a Christian conservative. Morals and values are so important to me. But it also is very divisive because there's so many people on the Republican side now who don't look at morals and values. And to be honest with you, I hate that. I wish that we would look at morals and values. I'm not giving up my morals and values and principles. But what I'm saying is, if I was trying to lead the Republican Party like Trump is doing, my goal would be to talk about economy, safe streets, and borders. And then no wars. Those 4 things, every one of those has about a 65 to 75% track record of actually doing better for the conservatives and for Trump than anything else we talk about. Is it stupid that the DNC had a bus that does vasectomies and abortions outside their hall? Is it stupid the fact of what they're bringing up with Walz throwing Doritos to Kamala and how cringe it is? Is it absolutely abhorrent that Biden's kids get up there and try to praise him and he talks like words last night and half of it didn't make sense and he was yelling? That is all important. But that's not what I would be talking about. Talk about the 4 things. Economy, safe streets, cities in peril basically, the fact that we need to close our borders, and the fact that we need no war. If we would talk about those things, those 4 principles, Trump would win in a landslide. Talk about the fact that she's wanting to overtax the population. Talk about that. That deals with the economy, because that means not only are they spending more, which will cost more inflation, they're going to tax you more, so you're going to come home with less money. Hit on that. That affects what? 95% of individuals that work for a living and they're taxed? What we don't realize is inflation and taxes affect everyone, not just the ones who make a lot of money. Because remember, those businesses will pass down that tax to you. It's going to be passed through to the goods that you're purchasing. What do you think inflation is doing? Why do you think your eggs cost 50% more? Why do you think your meat costs 50% more? Because the government has either overtaxed and not incentivized people, businesses, to realize this is a good economy. Because it's not. So therefore, they're passing down those costs, those things that are overtaxed, the fact that it's costing more for them to operate, that's going to you. And it's going to get worse if the Democrats keep this same thing going on. Higher taxes and more spending. It's not going to get better all of a sudden. Kamala's not going to quote unquote change it. She's been in office for 3 years, and she literally is the one who helped pass the Inflation Reduction Act. Really. She's the one that did it. She helped it get through there. So do you think that she's going to automatically just change everything and magically get better on those policies when she wants to keep those same policies going? She can call it what she wants. But if she's wanting higher taxes, more spending, that is money out of your pocket. Why are we not hammering that? No closing of borders. You can't get in the DNC without a photo ID and 2 sets of security fence, but we can cross the border and it's causing more problems for our cities. Did you hear 1.3 trillion over the last 3 years is what it cost us to house and feed migrants? 1.3 trillion. How much would 1.3 trillion plus the 200 or 300 billion that we've given to Ukraine? That is 1.8 trillion dollars. Almost $2 trillion that could have been in our economy helping pay our deficit and also not give to people who don't like us and give to foreign nationals or foreign people that's not even Americans. Now, I'm not for stimulus. I'm not for credits. I'm actually for quit printing money. But don't you think 1.8 to $2 trillion would have been good for the American economy? That's what Trump should be talking about. That's what conservatives should be talking about. Not how Kamala got her Doritos yesterday. Not how cringy she is. Not what Biden or Obama said. Talk about policy. When we talk about policy, the 4 things, again, I'm going to hammer them home. The economy. Safe streets in cities that are not in peril actually make taking care of the people better again and great again. Ultimately, quit starting wars. We don't need to put our money across overseas and close the border. You talk on those things as conservatives and Republicans. Quit talking about everything else. Quit talking about any and everything else. And I promise you, Trump will win and we will start getting on a better footing again. Now, do I believe that all of a sudden if a new administration goes in that everything's going to be fixed? No, because to be honest with you, our economy and our situation in the world is actually very bad right now. We try to smooth it because the legacy media doesn't want you to know the truth, but ultimately the economy's in terrible shape. Right now, there was a study that came out on legacy media. Kamala is getting 87% positive news media across the big platforms. Those same platforms have 89% negative reviews and news on Trump. So not only is it more positive to Kamala, it's actually more negative to Trump than it is Kamala, even though Kamala is getting 80-something% positive. So he's getting more negative than she's even getting positive, meaning they want you to hate Trump so much. And so what they're going to do is bring up all these stupid stories and all this crazy lingo sometimes that he uses. If I was Trump, don't talk to him about it. Talk about the 4 issues. You know why he won 2016? Because he talked about the economy and talked about the border. He talked about those 2 things. You may not know anything else, but what did you know? We're going to close the border, we're going to build a beautiful wall, and we're going to make the economy great again. Now, the Republicans stopped the border wall from really starting, and ultimately the Democrats tore it down and quit making it happen. So it's both parties' fault there. But we actually had a better economy in 2016 through 2019 or early 2020 than we've had since. Go to the grocery store and realize it. If they would talk Main Street, 4 things. Let's hit them one more time, just in the video. Main Street economics. Talk about the fact of how you're going to help people. Talk about the fact that Kamala wants to take more money away from small businesses and still spend just as much, which will hurt people who go shopping at Winn-Dixie, Piggly Wiggly, and Walmart, and the Dollar General. It will hurt you more. Talk about the fact that you don't even feel safe in your own cities. You know what? I live in a very small town, but I don't even let my wife go to Walmart by herself. Our cities are not even safe anymore, and our towns are not even safe because we have bad leadership who won't actually enforce the law. They want to get Trump on bad law, but they won't actually enforce the law that's on the books. Talk about the safe cities. Talk about closing the border, because guess what? The trafficking issues, the drug issues, only get worse. The cities are in peril more because the border's not closed. And then finally talk about the fact that we don't need to be dabbling in everybody's stuff across the world. Remember what I said. Almost $2 trillion have been spent on foreign wars and the border not being closed in the last 3 years. $2 trillion. What would that have done for Main Street economics? 4 things he could talk about. 4 things he could hit Kamala on. Don't talk about her Doritos. Prima donna VP. Walls is not the one actually running. Quit talking about all his service and dishonor. It doesn't really matter. You're running against Kamala. It's time to hammer on Kamala and hammer on her policies and talk about how it affects Americans. That's my thoughts. All right, guys, wrapping it up. Think about it. Comment below. Tell me, is that 4 things that he should be talking about? Is that the 4 things that Republicans and libertarians and freedom-oriented people want to talk about? You could talk about anything else, but when it comes down to it, if you had a better economy, you're not as stressed about your money. If you had safer streets, you wouldn't be worried about some of the other things being taken away from you, and you wouldn't be worried so much about sending your family out to go somewhere, because ultimately if they would be safe, they would be safer, and you'd have better enforcement and better, safer neighborhoods. Our cities wouldn't be in peril. And then also, if we closed the border, we wouldn't have maybe foreign nationals and sleeper cells all in America and trafficking issues for not only drugs and people. And it would save us $1.3 trillion. $450 billion. That was the report that came out, and we talked about it yesterday. $450 billion a year just to simply house and feed the people coming across our border illegally. And then, of course, you know, I hate war. I hate dictators. It's unfair that these wars are going on. But weakening American by trying to police the world is not helping, because ultimately what we're going to do is cause that same problem here, because we're not paying attention to what goes on in our home. If I tell you to lock your doors and I tell you to make sure that you're safe in my neighborhood, but then I let mine with a sign that says please enter here, leave all the doors open, you think that it's going to cause some problems? Yes, I'm going to be the ones having the problems in my own home because I left the doors open, unlocked, unguarded, while I was worrying about yours. And that's exactly what America is doing. Letting our doors open, leaving the doors unlocked, telling everybody to come here, even the bad guys, because we're going to try to police the world and make it a better place. All the while, America, remember, allies don't tend to come here to help. We're the ones always having to send out. So why don't we stop that for a little bit and just say, you know what? Brakes on. No more funding foreign wars. No more policing the world. Let's get our economy right. Let's get our streets safe. Let's lock our borders down. And let's start building up our economy so that way we look stronger across the world. That way no one will be just picking on the little guys anymore. That is a winning strategy. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Also remember the sponsor of today's video. I absolutely love this nutritional company. Please try it out. If you want to stay healthy and you want to stay fit and you want to have a better diet and feel better, it's time to clean it up. And Brickhouse Nutrition, Field of Greens can help you do that. Check that link out below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless.